Yes, conditions are degrading. What cannot be paid will not be paid. Triage is in our future. Complex, large government systems have to simplify, have to be reset. Here's another example. Government pension plans are failing in many places. One such failing is in Oregon. Oregon's Public Employee Retirement System Board Communications Director David Crosley said, while the PERS, the Public Employee Retirement System Fund, earned just over 2% last year, it didn't achieve the assumed saving rate of 7.75%. So the liability increased by about $3 billion. He noted that PERS had positive earnings but lost value because it paid about $3.5 billion in benefits a year. PERS rates for school districts and local governments will rise in July 2017, Kropp said, forcing school districts to lay off teachers, reduce school days, increase class sizes, and cut programs like art and PE. Local governments will also have to make cuts to public safety and other critical services. But there is a solution. Downsizing, reducing complexity, resetting to a new lower cost reality, reverting to balance between supply and demand. Austerity happens when you run out of money. As former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher reminded us, it happens once you run out of other people's money as well. When government is the problem, one obvious solution is to consume less government. Consume only as much as you can and want to pay for. Limited government limits corruption. It limits waste, fraud, and abuse. It sheds the overwhelming cost of complex and costly government structures. Limited government is affordable government. It enables self-reliance and fosters community spirit. Instead of metropolitan New York, think Little House on the Prairie. Let me share a couple of examples. The Nigerian writer, I hope I pronounced this correctly, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, wrote recently of how well-off Lagosians have become a tribe of reluctant libertarians, participating in precarious frontier spirit, unquote. They drill their own water wells, pour diesel into their heaving generators. They hire private security guards and travel abroad for costly medical care. You've asked why the rich say the same as the poor? The state does nothing. What we want, We must provide for ourselves. Let me tell you a little about a place I have in Newfoundland, a village called Herring Neck. As you may be able to guess by the name, it was once a fairly prosperous fishing village. The property I have there has a tax, call it a tax, I guess, of about just over 300 Canadian dollars a year, because I'm not a permanent resident. If I were a permanent resident, that would be doubled, about 600 Canadian dollars. Property taxes for my Cohoes house is about $5,000. Let me tell you something about the government of Herring Neck. In the early 1970s, there were only two levels of government in Newfoundland. The provincial government and towns that were big enough so that they had town councils. There were also many communities that wanted services such as water, sewer, garbage collection, and so forth that towns had, but the villages could not afford, because they weren't big enough to support a town council. So the provincial government created what is known as local service districts. They do not levy property tax, nor are they responsible for road maintenance, snow clearing, and so forth. A local service district decides what services it is going to provide its community and what fee is required to cover the cost of those services. Structure. As such, there are no paid employees, and the management committee consists of volunteers. Committee members assume the responsibility for service and maintenance on whatever the services are provided. The one I'm currently in provides garbage collection, fire protection, and chlorinated water supply to about 180 people. In our case in Herring Neck, fire protection is contracted through Summerford, which is a town about 10 miles away. The fire department, I believe, is all voluntary. Garbage collection is contracted with a regional authority, which is based about an hour's drive away in Norris Arm. It collects waste from all central Newfoundland. When there's a problem with the water system, the committee fixes it. It's mostly the chair, the vice chair, and a few other people in the committee. And with help from who's ever available. They have supply of tools, materials on hand, and the only outside resources they need is perhaps a backhoe. Now, this is not to say that a local service district should replace municipal governments in the USA, but clearly the existing government structures are not cast in stone. An all-volunteer government is probably not normally possible, although such things do exist. My daughter lives in a New York City co-op complex consisting of about 1,000 apartment units. The co-ops are governed much like Newfoundland social service districts. So downsizing and voluntary groups, minimal governments, might be something that is necessarily to consider as this tragedy unfolds, as triage sets in. You may have heard recent media reports about the mayor of Glens Falls proposing using county sheriff and eliminating police department, the local police, to cut municipal costs because costs have become unsustainable. Operating governments has become too expensive. This is a Republican and Democrat problem. But it also offers a real libertarian solution. Libertarians need to explain how government functions may no longer be worth the cost at every opportunity. Opportunities exist wherever budgets are strained, where benefits are lacking, where taxes are raised. As a group, I suggest we prepare and offer ourselves to spread the message of how less government means more benefits. If you live in a fiscally stressed community, offer yourself to show folks the way out of high taxes by increasing simplicity, resetting your government to a lower level. Or offer someone else in this group to speak to this issue instead. Review the media for such places and see if you can make contact with local groups to speak on the issue. Attend and actively participate in municipal and school budget workshops and meetings. Ask for cost-benefit calculations and tax impact statements for all new local legislation. You can ask it also for existing law and regulations. Why not adopt a comprehensive cost-benefit review of existing government functions and agencies? Maybe just one agency management audit each year would be appropriate. Whenever possible, we libertarians should encourage people to ask themselves, how close to an all-volunteer government can my community get? Big government is not the only option. Less government is possible. I submit it will become necessary. This is the libertarian future.